Welcome to the 20th Annual Distinguished Achievement Hall of Fame. I'm Jessica Gangle. I'm the Executive Director of the Brainerd Public Schools Foundation. I'm also a Brainerd graduate, class of 2000, woo! And I'm also really proud to have my 3 kids all enrolled in the Brainerd Public Schools. And 2 of them are at my childhood elementary, so that's super fun too. The mission of the Brainerd Public Schools Foundation is to enhance opportunities for the quality academics, arts, activities, and athletics for the students of the Brainerd Public Schools. The Brainerd Public Schools Foundation started in 1987. It was a conversation had on a golf course by Brainerd native Robert Campbell. He was asked by his golf partner, "What are you doing to give back to the school that gave you your start, your foundation?" And so the history is a little unknown, quiet known. And so anyways, it started with very small funds. And now today we're excited because we've grown substantially. We're over $2 million endowed now at the Brainerd Public Schools Foundation. Woo, yes. And it was actually started to give scholarships back. So originally we only had some small deposits, and it sounds like big, but 40,000-ish. And this year we're going to give $117,000 in scholarships tonight after this event. So very exciting. In about 2007, 2008, some of you may remember there was a failed referendum. And sadly that meant some activities and athletics, some teachers were let go. There was a lot of stuff happening in Brainerd in that time. And during that time, a committee rallied around and said, we're not going to let that happen. Not in our schools, not in our town. And they decided to start what's called the Warrior Way. You guys familiar with the Warrior Way? Okay. So they raised like $1 bajillion. That's actually, the correct amount was $1 bajillion. And so they put that right back into our schools to keep our programs going, our activities going, and all of that. And BPSF got to host those funds for them until they were all spent. In that time too, our board of directors said, well, we can do more. We can do better things for our schools. And so we started saving money and giving back through our called the 4A grants. So the arts, academics, athletics, and activities. So every year we have an annual grant cycle. Teachers, coaches, and staff, if they have some innovative, cool ideas they want to do that fall outside of those general operation dollars, they can come to us and we can help make those dreams a reality. So we're pretty excited about some of the things we're doing this year with the help of some additional donors, some in this room. We were able to give away $60,000 in grants this fall. So. There's actually many people in this room who were founding fathers of the Brainerd Public Schools Foundation who have helped get us to where we are today. If you're feeling brave enough, if you want to give a little wave, I know there's several of you. Okay, no one's feeling brave, but I know who you are. So anyone can get involved in helping the school foundation, and so please consider doing that. I want to thank our sponsors really quick. Our premier sponsor for the 20th year in a row for the Hall of Fame is the Brainerd Dispatch. Woo, yeah. And the Brainerd Dispatch has been serving the Brainerd Lakes area since 1881. It's a full-service multimedia company with newspaper, mobile, online, social, magazine, free shopping, publication, and all sorts of readership. 23,000 people daily reach out to the paper and, they receive the paper daily, and then also digitally 230,000 a month around the world. So very, very well sought after paper. They're a diversified company, commercially printing 20 other print publications weekly and being a distribution agency for 3 other newspapers. They employ over 70 people here in the Brainerd Lakes area, so they are a strong supporter of our economy. So thank you, Brainerd Dispatch. And Pete Moses here tonight, I believe. There he is. Hi, Pete. So thank you so much for your continued support. And I just want to thank our other sponsors here. Our premier sponsor, Stuart C. Mills Jr. from the exceptional class of 1946. If anyone knows the class of 1946, they will argue they are the best class to ever graduate from the Brainerd Lakes area. Stuart was also a 1999 Hall of Fame member, so we're excited to have Stuart's support. I'd also like to introduce you now. I'm going to just really quick mention our other sponsors. We've got Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union, Lindar, and we also received a nice generous donation from Clark Corky Johnson, and a few other donations as well. So thank you so much. I'd like to now introduce you to Lane Larson, the superintendent of the Brainerd Public Schools. Lane came to us from Thief River Falls a few years ago and has wasted no time in getting her feet wet and creating positive forward movement. Lane brings years and years of experience of education and leadership, and we are so lucky to have her. So welcome, Lane.
I don't know, and she says years and years of experience. That's good. Yeah. So hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me tonight. It's just a privilege to be here. I want to thank the Brainerd Public School Foundation for hosting again this 20th anniversary of the Hall of Fame. As the superintendent of schools, I often get asked, what does it mean to be a warrior? Because there's so many different interpretations of what that can mean. And as I've been here the past 3 years, it's really been something that I've thought a lot about, and I've had a lot of opportunity to hear different people's impressions of what they feel it means to be a warrior. In fact, it's become such a topic that during our building project most recently, we've been talking about doing a significant campaign or a branding campaign and marketing about what it truly means to be a warrior as we open all of our new buildings, thanks to our generous community. So when Jessica asked me again to talk about what it means to be a warrior, I wanted to tell a couple of stories, and I apologize if some of you have heard this first one. But I think it's the most darling little story that I've ever heard. And it just always is really the first thing that made me ever think about what it means to be a warrior. So the first year that I was here, it was December 29th, 2016. And it was actually my husband's and my 32nd wedding anniversary. And at 6:46 that night, all of a sudden my phone, it had a little bing to it. And I looked at it, and here I had an email from a young girl from Nisswa Elementary School. And just for fun, I'm going to call her Lauren. So the email said this. It said, "Hi, I'm Lauren, and I'm a 4th grader at Nisswa Elementary School. I've noticed some things, and I have a few suggestions for you. Number 1, we should not have a creepy mascot. Number 2, we should have a gender-neutral mascot. And thirdly," she said, "we are taught to not bully. Aren't warriors bullies? Love, Lauren. P.S. I'd like to see this changed by the year 2025 because I graduate that year. Thank you." So that really got me thinking about what the whole concept behind the warrior was. And so since that time, I've done a lot of research, and I've given a numerous amount of speeches on the topic of what it means to be a warrior. And to me, some of the terms that came from different sayings, some came from the dictionary, but to me, a warrior is a person who is proud, brave, and fearless. They are courageous and skilled. They're an energetic participant in any activity. They never quit, they never give up, and they continue to trudge their way forward. A warrior is fearless, strong, and disciplined. A warrior is a leader. On April 29th, 2019, I was at the Brainerd High School all-sports banquet when one of our very own seniors, Mark Boren, was asked to speak on what does it mean to be a warrior. His response touched me so greatly that evening that I asked for a copy of his speech the next day. And Mark's quote was this: "To be a warrior means the following. It's being a good person in life and showing good sportsmanship in competition. It means having great coaches and teachers who care about their athletes and they love their sport, like all of them at BHS. To be a warrior means to work hard on and off the field during the season and also in the off season. To be a warrior means giving your all when competing and never, ever giving up. And finally, being a warrior means different things to different people. We are all warriors," he said. Well, this morning, I was at the Harrison Elementary School groundbreaking, and I thought I had my speech all ready to go, when all of a sudden, Mr. Kelm's 2nd grade class came up with their very own poem. And the poem was called "We Are Warriors." And this is by 2nd graders, mind you, and I want to read it to you. "We are warriors. We are strong together. Warriors are confident, and we help each other. We are warriors. We listen to one another and we respect each other. Warriors are brave. We can work together. We are all warriors. We are always kind. We stand up for others, and we always grow our minds. We are warriors. I have one final quote that I have up in my office that I have in front of me every day sometimes when the going gets tough. And it's actually a saying, for those of you who have been in my office, that the second time that I had cancer, a friend of mine gave me this quote. And it just was so pertinent because it was prior to myself actually becoming a warrior. But this quote that I have up in my office says this: "Because I'm a warrior, I'm a champion. I'm a fighter, and I'm not giving in." Tonight, my friends, we get to dedicate this entire evening to our distinguished Hall of Fame inductees. Steve, Kevin, and also to Quintus. How fortunate we are to have you as role models for all of the warriors that we have in our school district. You exemplify exactly what it means to truly be a warrior. Although that definition may be a little bit different for everyone, we are all warriors. Tonight we dedicate our evening. We dedicate it to Quintus A. Blackburn from the class of 1917, to Stephen Clough from the class of 1976, and to Kevin Thiesing from the class of 1974. On behalf of these highly deserving award recipients, I welcome each of you to this celebration of commemoration. Congratulations to our recipients. I asked Heidi if she would help me tonight because I thought we were both so color coordinated that we would have a little fun together. So tonight, one of the things that we really want to do is we want to say thank you to many people who have made this possible. And I'm going to ask our first distinguished guest to please stand, and that is the wonderful Board of Education from ISD 181. We begin with our chair, Susan Kern, our vice chair, Tom Hagelin, our clerk, Reed Campbell, treasurer, Bob Nystrom, and directors Ruth Nelson and Charles Blacklands. Thank you all for being here and for all you do for our school district.
Good evening. As you come to these events, you realize that we have two strong warriors that make it classy and a lot of fun for us to participate in these events. We can't do it without them. That would be our Public School Foundation directors, Executive Director, Miss Jessica Gangle, and our Foundation Coordinator, Amber Schlegel. The time, energy, and work that they put in is immense, and we can't thank you enough. In addition, I'd like to recognize our Brainerd Public Schools board members. Can you please stand when I say your names? Our current president, Jessica Hopachoki. I saw her earlier. She might be in the hall. We need a pager from the hall. Our vice president, Jenny Castle. Our treasurer, Katie Hokinson. Hawkinson, I should say. Sorry. Hokinson? Okay. Debbie Erickson. I saw her earlier. Here they all come in. Now you can see them. Angie Nelson. Nick Hagelin. Mike Warden. Brooke Malik. Over there. Good. Jason Wakawiak, Willie Severson, I saw him there too, and Reed Campbell. Again, you've heard the amounts of the scholarships and the awards that we continue thanks to the great work of our Brainerd Public Schools Foundation and board members. Thank you for all of your work.
We also, again, would like to reiterate what Jessica talked about a little bit ago, and that is to dedicate this to our premier sponsors. Thank you to the Brainerd Dispatch, to Stuart C. Mills Jr. and the exceptional class of 1946, to the Brainerd Public Schools, to the Brainerd Public School Foundation, to Mid-Minnesota Credit Union, and to Lindar Corporation for making tonight a reality.
Brainerd has a rich history of producing students who go out into the community and make a tremendous difference. If you are part of the Distinguished Hall of Fame class, would you please rise so we can also recognize you at this time? We'd also like to thank our student musicians that were with us this evening, Olivia Killeran, and I'm going to not pronounce Lee's last name correctly. Primusberger. Thank you, Superintendent Larson. So Lee Primusberger and Amy Lynn. Thank you again for the music that was provided to us this evening. Oh, okay. She's defaulting more duties to me already. Okay. We would like to thank our Hall of Fame and the selection committee. The people that we're honoring tonight, again, are people who exemplify what it means to be a warrior. To give you a little bit of history about our Hall of Fame event, the Brainerd Public Schools Distinguished Hall of Fame was established in 1999. It was founded in an effort to honor graduates of Brainerd High School for distinguished achievements and careers that have significantly impacted our society. Recipients of the Distinguished Hall of Fame serve as role models for our students by inspiring and motivating Brainerd High School learners to excel in everything they do while fostering outstanding citizenship, fairness, honor, pride, and respect for themselves, their classmates, their school, and the communities where they are placed. Since 1999, a total of 67 men and women have been inducted into this prestigious group. From this esteemed, distinguished class, we witness demonstration of what it means to truly be a warrior.
I feel extremely honored to be able to give the awards tonight for the inductees into the 2019 Hall of Fame. Tonight's recipients join this distinguished group of honorees as they have met the criteria set forth. At this time, I would like to invite Terry McCullough to join me on stage on behalf of Quintus A. Blackburn, the class of 1917, for induction into the field of Antarctic Explorer. Terry will invite Quinton's grandson Quinn and his son Tom to the stage, and we will hear from them. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. I'll let you get the award.
Congratulations. Oops, who's taking the picture?
You may have to step out to the middle for.
Do you want to come out here?
You can get your photo. A good newsman always writes notes. In the 20 years since we started the Hall of Fame, we've inducted 67 graduates of Brainerd High School into its rolls. And I happen to think that Quintus Blackburn, class of 1917, is one of the more remarkable of those inductees. I hate to think that it is only due to coincidence or perhaps even blind luck that we're inducting Quinn Blackburn tonight, but that is the case. It was several years ago that I was scrolling through the microfilm archives at the Brainerd Dispatch for my daily history column when I happened upon a story that Quinn Blackburn, a member of Admiral Richard Byrd's Antarctic expedition, had written a letter to his parents who lived on North 9th Street in Brainerd. It was a good piece, and I put it in my column. When I came across more stories from the Antarctic in the next 2 years, a thought crept into my mind. I wonder if that fella graduated from high school here. As a member of the Hall of Fame committee, I knew you had to be a graduate in order to qualify. And back at that time in the early 1900s, many did not finish high school. A bit of research found a front page story in June of 1917 showing he not only graduated, but he was second in his class, and that he completed all 4 years of high school in 3 years. Further research revealed Quinn Blackburn's remarkable life of adventure and achievement. You can read it in the handout that's on the table. And I'm so glad I was able to stumble across it and rescue it from our dusty archives at the Dispatch. It is indeed a privilege to introduce to you Quinn's son, Tom Blackburn, who is a retired aerospace engineer. He's traveled here from California to share some thoughts about his father. Please welcome Tom.
I thought I'd start out by sharing this letter from Admiral Byrd to my dad. And my dear Quinn, it is great delight that I present you this congressional medal. You gave many months of your life towards making our expedition successful. Now that a year has passed since we have returned here, I want you to know that my gratitude to you is as firm as ever, that throughout our lives, whatever may be our various fortunes, you will find that my appreciation will not grow less. The time that has elapsed has only increased the respect of our countrymen for our expedition. May the years ahead have the same effect. The expression of this respect is this medal, which is the highest that your grateful countrymen have conferred upon you, the highest honor within their gift. This is a recognition that will carry your name on the pages of history. On the face of the medal, there is mention of the expedition's material accomplishments, but what it represents is in a deeper sense that has been invisible, which cannot be described in the spirit of our expedition. It is internal bitterness and caused by fame, ambition, money, and jealousy, which after the return home has destroyed the spirit of many past expeditions. You have not let these things touch you, and I congratulate you and am grateful to you in a double sense. It is often more difficult to keep our sense of balance and proportion in civilization than in the polar regions. It is my confident hope that this spirit will live as a bright page in our history. In conclusion, I want to say that whatever you come my way, you will receive a warm welcome and the hand of friendship. Your friend, R.A. Byrd. Well, when I grew up in his household in the 40s and the 50s, this Antarctic ventures was some long past. And when I was in his household, he worked for the Bureau of Land Management, which is a subset of the Department of Interior. And you may be aware that much of the West, very much then and less so now, is much of the West is government land. And there's various ways that you can get ownership of some of that nice free land. You can go to a homestead or a desert entry or a mining claim. But each of these ways has various requirements and restrictions that you have to satisfy to get patent to that land. And it was his job, and his title was mining examiner. But his job was to go throughout Idaho. He spent his summers doing this, go around, inspect the land, examine if all the requirements had been met, and then come back to the office and write a report with recommended patent or not. And imagine all that free land, it's ripe for graft. And I remember one situation he got upset about was that the senior senator of Idaho wrote a letter to the Secretary of Interior saying that he was personally familiar with this parcel of land, and this person certainly deserved patent on it. And my dad's reaction was, "I can't do that, it's against the law." And it's another situation that he had business with some ranchers in eastern Idaho, and they went to some lengths, very charming people, and they made friends with him, and perhaps he was naive enough to not suspect an ulterior motive, but I eavesdropped at the kitchen door one evening, and he was on the phone, and I overheard him say, "Let me get one thing straight, Charlie. I'll go as far with you as the law will allow, and not one whit further." And so he was rather rigid in his morals and behavior. And at some point I heard him sound off and say, "My motto is to figure out the right thing to do and do it." And so that's how he conducted his life and his professional life. Then when he retired when he was civil service then required civil servants to retire at 70, and so he went in to clean out his desk when he was 70, and he said that was the saddest day of his life, that his professional life was over. And so I took out my professional life as an aerospace engineer and encountered some ethical dilemmas down through the years, and I felt that I had a good moral compass from his influence on me, and time doesn't permit for me to go in specifically to some of these dilemmas I encountered, but I retired from a 52-year career with a clean conscience. So I think that he was an excellent influence on me. So in closing, I hope to speak to the students, because like I said, his motto that he sounded off someplace during those years was figure out the right thing to do and do it. And so my guidance for high school students that are transitioning from childhood to adulthood is, that's a good motto to live with. Take the time to figure out the right thing to do and do it. Or the future of our republic may depend on enough people behaving that way.
One final thought. The next time that the sun rises across Antarctica, the light will reach across the Scott Glacier, and it'll touch the Queen Maud mountain range. It will light flat-topped, massive Mount Blackburn, rising to 10,745 feet. It was discovered by and named for Quinn Blackburn, undoubtedly making him the only Brainerd High School graduate with an Antarctic mountain named after him. Thank you.
presenter for the Brainerd Public Schools Distinguished Achievement Hall of Fame is Jim Hunt. Will you please join me on stage to give introduction to Stephen Clough from the class of 1976.
He is involved in the management of 120 full-time employees, the 800 or so part-time employees, plus involvement with all the other aspects of this business enterprise that includes the development of the Tea Hive business, production of halftime shows for various holiday bowls, and a business that produces athletic apparel catalogs, and so on. Steve compliments his wife and business partner, Cindy, of 40 years, the other class of 1976 inductee, for the making up of a great team, plus now the addition of their three children, Joel, Jared, and Alexandra, who are now involved in some aspect of their business enterprise. I should mention that Steve and Cindy are the first and only husband and wife BHS graduates inducted into the BHS Distinguished Achievement Hall of Fame. Something their kids don't know is that when Steve was in high school, he spent a lot of time in my office. I'm just kidding, okay? I'm not sure that Steve even knew where the principal's office was located or that I was the principal, okay? It's my very special pleasure to present to you, Superintendent Larson, Mr. Steve Clough, for induction to the BHS Distinguished Achievement Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you all. I guess it would be appropriate, since Mr. Hunt introduced me, to start with a little story that may give a different impression to what he just said. When I was a senior in high school, I guess this is a story of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So as a senior, I was with a group of my friends, and we ended up in the boys' lavatory in the second floor of the commons area. And while we were in there, somehow the sink fell off the wall. And as you can imagine, the group of us ended up in Mr. Hunt's office, and perhaps he doesn't recall this, but it certainly was a time, sometimes you want to be in Mr. Hunt's office, but this was not maybe that time. So after a period of time waiting for him to come in and discipline us or whatever might happen, my recollection is we never did find out how that sink fell off the wall. But I guess I'm here 43 years later to tell you it wasn't me that knocked that sink off the wall. So what I want to do right now is thank the selection committee. It certainly is an honor to have been nominated and selected to be inducted into the Brainerd High School Distinguished Achievement Hall of Fame. It's an honor. When I look at the previous individuals that have been inducted, it certainly is humbling and certainly is an honor to see all those distinguished individuals that have been inducted in previous years. I want to congratulate the family of Quinn Blackburn. What an honor to be inducted at the same time that he has been inducted. It's just incredible, his accomplishments. I also want to congratulate Kevin Thiesing. I've known Kevin for many years, and I think it is a well-deserved recognition for someone who has given so much to the Brainerd and Baxter community. So congratulations, Kevin. Also, I guess, as I look at in the paper of all those that had gone before us, Mr. Hunt was correct in saying that my business partner, my life partner, and my best friend went in before me in 2007. And while I'm a few years after her, I guess I'm honored to be alongside her as well. So I'm just going to talk just briefly a little bit about what it's been like to be in business. Cindy and I started our business when we were both very young. We were just in the process of starting our family, who they're all here this evening, our 3 kids. It's sometimes hard to believe that one of my oldest child is, at the same time our business started, is now pushing 40 years old. Wow, that's crazy. But anyhow, there are a number of items that I think really define what our business and my business career was about, and I'm just going to touch on them briefly. I think one of the things that has made the success that I've experienced is hard work. I have all my siblings here tonight with me, and I thank you guys for coming. And I think we'll all agree that when I was in high school, or we were all going to school, we had a father that believed in work ethic and hard work, and he always said, if you're going to do a job, do it right. And I think we have lived our business career in that manner. So hard work is something that's certainly important if you're going to be a business owner and entrepreneur. Cindy and I both have taken a lot of risks in our life, and I think willingness to take risks is a big factor that leads to success, but it also brings about failures. And I think we have experienced a number of those failures over the years, but I think one of the things that we both believed in is when you fail, you pick yourself up, you learn from those failures, and then you move on, and you don't dwell on those failures. The other thing, as I touched on, is work ethic. And I think it's very important that individuals have strong work ethic if you're in business. And the last thing that I want to touch on that I believe is very important, and I've tried to live my life by this, and that's honesty. And I think one of the things that we as business owners, individuals, no matter what aspect of life that you go into, you're going to make mistakes. And we have certainly made mistakes. But one of the important things that I've always believed in is you're honest about those mistakes. And so both Cindy and I have lived our life, I think, believing in honesty in our business career. And that might be being honest to a customer, letting them know you screwed up. What can we do to make it right? It might be with a coworker. It might be with an employee. So those are some of the items I think that I've kind of lived my career by. I think when we were young and we were just starting out, we were in our early 20s, and we both had a vision of what we wanted to accomplish in life, and our families were not necessarily supportive, our parents, because they all worked in careers where, they worked for local, the railroad or the water and light department, different things that gave them a secure earnings, a secure check every payday. And we both ventured out and tried something on our own. And it was certainly a challenge, but also a lot of fun and interesting. But what happened is when we started growing and we had to hire employees, it really changed the game. And it became so real to us that now the decisions we were making weren't necessarily decisions that were going to impact just us if we failed or made the wrong decision. It was now going to impact others that we were working with. And it may impact them because they were depending on the success of our decisions. And so that was a real eye-opener, I think, for both of us as we began our careers and grew from being just her and I and started hiring other employees. The other thing I think that I want to touch on is it has been such a joy to be able to grow up in Brainerd, to go to school in Brainerd, and to start our careers and start our business and be successful in our community. And it's a community that we both believe strongly in. It's a community that has fabulous school system. And now, of course, with the future that's going to be building new schools and whatnot, it's a great community. It's been a great community to raise our kids in and to grow our family in. And I guess kind of in closing, I just want to share how important it has been to be a business owner in Brainerd. And we're excited that now our children, who have all grown up and are grown adults, are a part of this. And currently we have, 130, 140 employees in this community. And Brainerd is our home, and Brainerd's going to always be our home. And I'll close by saying I feel really blessed to have been able to have a career where I've been able to work with my wife, Cindy. For the most part, it's been fabulous. There's certainly those moments. But now to also have been able to work with all three of our kids and to continue to grow the business as I'm trying to start slowing down a little bit. It's so exciting to see young people that are in our company, and we have a number of them right now that are not just family members, but others that are taking us in a whole new direction. And so again, thank you for the nomination and the induction. I am truly honored to be a part of this prestigious group. Thank you.
Congratulations, Steve. I always say that I have two daughters, and my girls were dancers. And from the time they were 3 years old, we used to take them to Just for Kicks camps. And I remember as my kids were in dance in high school and we'd be down at the state tournament, we'd always have to run over and see Brainerd. We'd have to see what the Cloughs had brought forward that year, and they were always tremendous. And so when I was coming to Brainerd, it was so exciting that I was going to get to meet Steve and Cindy, and through the referendum and my years together, to call you friends is really special, and what you do not only for our school but our entire community is greatly appreciated. So congratulations to you. When I came here 3 years ago, one of the first things that I did with my entry plan was to go around and to meet many of the stakeholders within the community and to learn about what is really great in our community, what's great about our school, what they felt some of the challenges were going to be as we moved forward. And I remembered Janet Horn, the executive assistant, saying, "I've got this great appointment and you are going to have so much fun this afternoon." She said, "You're going over to Lakes Printing and you're going to sit down with Kevin Thiesing and it's going to be just a phenomenal experience." Well, she was absolutely right. I had the most wonderful visit that day, and too, over the course of the last couple of years, just the experiences that we've had working through the chamber, working through the school district, and becoming friends in organization is just really a tribute to you, Kevin. You're an amazing man. And with that, I would like to introduce our next presenter, and that is Ruthie Geminder, who is going to join me today to give the award to induct Kevin Thiesing from the class of 1974 into the prestigious Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I've been a member of the Hall of Fame committee since its inception, and I have had the privilege to support all of you that have been inducted. And this year they asked me to introduce Kevin Thiesing, who I actually met in Rotary. He's much younger than me, but he's the age of one of my younger siblings. And I want you to read his bio. And he has only listed 12 different organizations that he belongs to. But if you look at those organizations, he has always been in a leadership position. And most of you have been involved in a lot of different service organizations and realize that 5 to 10% of the members do 90% of all the work. It doesn't matter usually which organization it is. So if you look at all of these committees, and I said, "Kevin, I know you've been on more than 12. Tell me how many you think it really is." And he thought perhaps it was closer to 25. So he has spent a lifetime in a leadership position doing good for the Brainerd Lakes area. And you even look at the awards that he's also received too. I'm also a member of the Brainerd Lakes Area Community Foundation, and it was a privilege then too to select him for the Philanthropic Award. And I got to know Kevin much better through Rotary. And it happened to be one of the days where they were just singing, you know, all of the Thiesing accolades, going on and on. I think his sister, Teresa, and probably Debbie, you know, may have even been involved in the discussion. But they were going on and on. And it happened to be a new Rotarian that was sitting next to me. And she turned to me and said, "What in the world is a Thiesing?" So I am going to let Kevin tell you what a Thiesing is, and I want to present Kevin Thiesing to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
I wasn't going to do this, but Jessica won't let me down. Ruthie, thank you. Thank you, thank you. You know, one of the things I love about this community is no matter where you go or whatever you do, you run into really cool people. Ruthie's just way cool. I mean, if you want something done or done right in this community, you call Ruthie Geminder and then you just forget about it. I want to add my congratulations to the family of Mr. Blackburn. Steve and your family, congratulations. What a thrill it is to join the Hall of Fame with both of you this evening. I want to add my thank you to the sponsors and all of the organizations and people that helped to make an evening like this possible. So Dode and I have a theory in life, or kind of a concept, and it has to do something about if you score a touchdown, you hit a home run, you do something really special, act like you've been there before, or act like you plan on being there again. I have no idea how to act tonight. And I'll probably be emotional, Bill, but that's just who I am. This is so humbling and so amazing. My goal is to act like an adult and act professional, but I have no promise. It's kind of like high school, Mr. Hunt. You know, my intentions were good. They really were. Actually, I knew Principal Hunt from high school, but I didn't get to know Jim Hunt until many years after high school, and we've become good friends over the years. I know now what I suspected then, that Jim Hunt's an incredible man and has an incredible passion for youth and to see youth succeed. Thank you for that. When Superintendent Larson called me to tell me about tonight, I mentioned to her that if when my name was announced and you got pushback from the community, just let me know, I'll bring the plaque back. It's okay. But Elaine, I've changed my mind. I have. In the weeks since then, I've had a chance to think about this, and I've realized it's not about me. It's about the people in my life, and because of that, it's an honor to be up here tonight to accept this award. And, you know, when you believe that the world revolves around you, that's really a tough thing to deal with. But this recognition tonight is because of the people in my life, and this is for them and about them. First and foremost, it's about my family. Dode and I have shared a personal life and a business life for many years. And it's our children and their spouses and our grandchildren that we do what it is that we do. They're incredible people, and there's no greater joy than to be part of their lives and to see what they're doing in their lives and what they're becoming. They are making a difference in the world and making this world a better place, and we're so proud of that. To my brothers and sisters and their spouses, and to Dode's brother and her sisters and their spouses, this award is for all of you. The impact, I can do this, Jim. The impact that you've had in our lives with how you lead your lives has helped to shape who we are and what we do. Thank you for that. Don't I have friends that mean the world to us? And you impact people's lives. Because of what you do, we do what we do. And I love all of you, and I thank you all, my family and our friends, and thank you for those of you that could be here tonight. So that's the emotional part. Now the fun part. It's been really fun spending some time reflecting back on my years at the Brainerd school system. And once you start down memory lane, it can be really difficult to stop. Names and faces and events have been popping in and out of my head for weeks now. The cool thing is that they've been good memories about pleasant things and really nice people. I can't begin to share all of them with you tonight, but I do want to talk about a few and a representation of those memories. There are early memories like getting to sing in the elementary choir. I can't carry a tune to this day, but I love music, and I was given an opportunity that impacted my life. I remember getting to be in an experimental reading class in junior high, and as I remember it, I helped prove that junior high students need a fair amount of supervision and direction. But I was given an opportunity, and to this day I love to read. I remember being in a computer programming class. The computer terminal was at the vocational school, and the actual computer was at the University of Minnesota. I was exposed to something that I had no idea existed. I was given an opportunity, and to this day I look for things that I don't know exist, and I'm thrilled to be able to experience that sort of thing. I remember working in the school cafeteria. I worked for my lunch, and we were actually paid a little wage also. I was given the opportunity to be part of the behind-the-scenes team that helps make a school day happen. The respect that the cooks and the custodians showed the students and the dedication to what they did has stuck with me to this day. Of course, most of my high school memories center on FFA. The FFA program made the world smaller and very real for me. I was given the opportunity to grow as a person. I was given the opportunity to learn leadership skills. I was given the opportunity to compete all over Minnesota. And I was given the opportunity to work full-time at the Blue Ox Co-op feed store my senior year. In other words, I was given the opportunity to be part of something. To this day, I use the skills and the connections that I learned in FFA in my daily life. So as I was putting my thoughts together for tonight, I realized that my memories are all about opportunities and the people that made those opportunities possible for me. I know now that those people include not only the teachers, but it also includes support staff and administrators and school boards and custodians and cooks and advisors and coaches and school bus drivers and volunteers, and the list goes on and on. In other words, it takes a community to create those opportunities. It's a thrill to be able to have this chance tonight to say thank you to the Brainerd Public Schools for the opportunities that I was given. Thank you to family and friends for all that you do. It's my honor to share this recognition with all of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone so much. I want to congratulate all our Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you so much for being here tonight and bringing all your amazing families. If you think of someone else who fits the bill for the Distinguished Achievement Hall of Fame, someone who's gone on and done great things in their peer group above and beyond, you can nominate for the 2020 class, and those nominations are due by June 30th. If you visit bpsf.org, they're right on there, and you can download a PDF or fill out an online link. I again want to thank our sponsors, the Brainerd Dispatch, Stuart C. Mill Jr., and from the the exceptional class of 1946, Mid-Minnesota Federal Credit Union, Lindar Corp., Corky Johnson, the Brainerd Public Schools. Prairie Bay has got a delicious spread ready for us in the library. I want to thank our BHS students for videotaping and our kids for the music ahead of time. So I want to thank you, and I want you to take your things with you, and we're going to head over across the hall into the library and enjoy a lovely reception. Thank you so much for coming tonight.